Hi, my name is Rob McWilliam and I'm the Products Director here. I'm going to tell you about the Learning Directions conference that I went to last week. Among a host of different subject matter that we covered, and it was run by a guy called Elliot Macy, who's quite a thought leader, runs his own learning centre for learning at work just outside New York. We covered three key areas that I wanted to tell you about today. One was about personalisation in learning, the second was about mobile learning, and the third element was something about the future of our classrooms as well. So in personalisation, I think what we mean by personalisation and what seems to be happening is that because people are getting access to content in different ways nowadays, that people are wanting to personalise their own curriculum and syllabus within particular courses, for example, based on feedback that they've had or based on where they know they need to develop. And so, yeah, very much there was a theme about picking content to suit your own needs that came through there. And that one of the strong messages was that there's a growth in video, undoubtedly, and that when people watch videos, it doesn't take very long for them to decide whether or not they want to continue watching that video or just stop and get out of it. There's also as well this sense of impersonalisation. Then, well, you've heard of Amazon and the way in which that website works, where if you buy something from there, they then suggest the next thing for you to buy, or other people that bought this product also looked at. Well, there's that sort of theme that could grow within learning and in the use of learning management systems, where you attend one particular course or do one piece of learning, and yet some sort of system throws up to you, or people typically in your position would then go on to learn this next piece of content. And so that was what really intrigued me about the sort of personalisation element of the conference last week. So mobile learning, first of all, I think it was interesting to understand a bit more in terms of the clarity of what we mean by mobile learning. For some people and some organisations, mobile learning just means using your mobile phone to get access to content that is in not mobile form, but in just any other form. Whereas actually where mobile learning really does add value is when you use the full functionality of your mobile phone in order to learn. So not only using the internet, but also using some of the other capabilities that you've got, using photographs on there, uploading your own videos, voice recording your own notes, all those different elements that could become part of true mobile phone learning, I suppose, as smartphones. And then, of course, there's the fact that more of us are using our phones as a sort of memory backup or brain backup system. So we carry our brain in our hand, and they call that the use of transactive memory. So you don't really need to remember so much now, because you can just search on the internet whenever you can get an internet connection on your phone. And that's compared to something called retained memory, which is the stuff that we keep on board all the time. And so, in other words, when we're designing content for mobile access, then one of the key elements that we'll need to think about is how we flag the type of content that you're coming across. So is it stuff that you need to memorize and therefore don't just keep in your phone? Is it stuff that you can be familiar with and therefore you can refer to your phone because you just know where to find the answer? Or also you'll be coming across lots of information that is of no relevance at all to your work. So do we need to somehow flag, you need to know this, but you don't need to know that? And I think what the really, in the spirit of what we were talking about at this conference, was that it's our role as learning and development professionals to try and give direction and flag up to the searchers of content, as to say, this is really useful stuff, and this is less useful, and this you should know, and this you could know. And I think that's the way we can add value. The third one was the sort of future of classrooms, which is important for us in Thales Training Consultancy, because fundamentally we have our own training centre and therefore we need to maximise the use of it. One of the key things that we were talking about there was around having connected classrooms. So connected not only just because more people will bring a second screen and therefore, I don't know, research a model for themselves whilst the trainer is explaining it as well. So there's do we have Wi-Fi access or internet connection? But there's also the sense of being connected with the outside world or with the rest of the business. So in one organisation that they gave an example of, there were large video screens as well in the classroom that were in effect video conference screens. And so they were able to call up the senior manager of a particular part of the operation and get his input at a particular time in order to save him having to travel to the course in the first instance, but also there in video conference terms to ask some questions of and get perspectives from. So that adds value in a way. And then another example, I think it took place in an airport where actually they had real life video feed of what was happening at the customer service desk at that moment into the classroom environment, which was learning the theoretical way of serving customers. So you were actually able to join up, you know, the sort of classroom with the reality and perhaps interact with the real frontline customer service team as they were going through it and get their perspectives as well. I thought that was a really interesting twist on how we typically view classroom-based training, which is you go away to do it, completely disconnected from the real world sometimes. There was a talk of you know, do we use video in the classroom, and how useful is that? Would you video lessons and then send the video of the lessons out to people that hadn't been there? They were suggesting that there was research to say that actually video was most useful as a replay mechanism for those that had been in the classroom, but actually those that hadn't been there sort of missed on the experience and didn't really stay with the video for the whole time anyway. So it's useful for summaries, but less to put the whole thing out there for non-attendees. And then of course there was the use of the classroom in a completely different way, which is to say, well actually we should use classrooms to bring subject matter to life rather than just transmit theory, and why shouldn't therefore participants tap into a video about the theory or some online content about the theory before arriving in the classroom, and then we use the classroom just to facilitate their understanding of that particular content, run some exercises around it, clarify any misunderstandings as well, and therefore using the classroom in a different way. So some really good food for thought for us here in our business. For me, in terms of what it means for us here at Thales Training and Consultancy, is that there was nothing to say that classroom-based learning, where we base most of our content at the moment, is going out of date and is irrelevant. I was very reassured about that. I think that there's some elements of blending online learning and video, for example, into our courses, and just having perhaps a review about how our training centre is more connected. So those are some of the thoughts that came to mind as a result of that. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and if you've got any questions about some of the content that I've talked you through, then please book some time with me. I'd be really happy to update you.